Hello everyone, I'm Kathy Powers, the superintendent with the Twinsburg City School District. Welcome to Twinsburg Schools Today. Well, today we're on site on the campus of RB Chamberlin Middle School, and we are delighted to feature two of our classrooms and two of our teachers, actually three of our teachers, who have been funded through the Twinsburg Schools Foundation for innovative grants. You're going to get a peek inside the classroom of Mrs. Wendy Nito, who is going to share with you her journal time activities. And then we're going to go down to the math classroom of Miss Jody Casino and Mrs. Laura Smallhair, and we're going to take a look at their math project. Both exciting ways to learn for our Tigers, and I'm really grateful that you're joining us for our show.
We're really excited that Community Focus was able to be here today to highlight some of the great programs and practices that our teachers have here at RBC. I'm so proud of our teachers, Mrs. Neto in her journal time, and Miss Casino and Mrs. Smallhair with their creative thinking classrooms. These are teachers that are trying new things, expanding boundaries, and learning new ways to teach. And both of them are focusing on issues that are very important. With Miss Casino and Mrs. Smallhair, they are really focusing on our 21st century learning skills. They've created a math class where students are focusing on the 4 C's. They communicate, they collaborate, they are creative, and they think critically. And it's really made an impact on our students, and I'm anxious to see how they achieve on our OST test this spring with the new methodologies. And also we've realized that students need a lot of skills and resources to support themselves socially and emotionally. And Mrs. Neto's journal time does exactly that. And it teaches students to process, to handle their emotions through art, through creative writing, creative drawing, journaling, even doodling. And the response from her students and the growth in her students has been dramatic. And we have the Twinsburg City Schools Foundation to thank, because of their grants we're able to put these programs here at RBC, and I'm once again thrilled that we're able to highlight them today.
Journal Time is a special project that I put together in a grant last year that got approved through the Twinsburg Foundation and with the help of Kathy Powers. It's to help the students grow a little bit outside of the classroom, so they can come and eat lunch with me. They can journal in their notebooks. We do collage, we do paintings, we sit around, we have lunch together, we talk about our day. It's another way to connect to the students outside of the classroom without the pressure of grades. It helps their social, emotional learning and wellness. It started in September. It has helped the students. They have actually wanted to gather more days than just 1 or 2 days a month. They want to come every week. I've enjoyed them socializing within their little group together. They feed off of each other's ideas. They take and learn and borrow, and they're all able to gather together in a different way than they would normally throughout a class. And it's helped me grow as an educator too, because I've watched the things that they do and how they think about certain projects and prompts that I give them, and they think about it in a different way than I would. These students signed up on a voluntary basis to be a part of this grant program that I started. So they are naturally in my classes, so it gives them more opportunity for individualized art and doing special projects they wouldn't normally do in a normal class. I try to do things that would be slightly different, that could be a little bit more freer. They could connect maybe with their day, maybe something that they've been going through. They can journal and write, and that's a private journal just for them to enjoy. This is another way for the students to maybe heal something that they might be going through. They can diary, they can document something that went on through their day. It's another way for them to have a little break in their day after having 4 classes. They come in here, they eat lunch with me. It's an emotional break for them. So they can journal, color, create, collage, paint, anything in these journals. And maybe they're expressing something that happened, maybe they're not. Maybe they're working with another student right next to them and they're talking about their problems. Whatever it is, it helps their wellness and their social learning, and it might actually improve their grades in other classes because they get this little bit of a break in the day. Open up your journals. I have supplies up there. You know we have supplies in that cabinet. You can draw and you can doodle right now and see what you have working in there. When Mrs. Sedovy came yesterday, right, I backed mine up with that journaling prompt that I didn't get a chance to do. So now, if you have one or two of these that you want to work on now, we can take this tape off and see what it has left, what kind of shape. So if you want to go ahead and work on this page, or if you're sketching on another page, that's fine too. We can pull that very carefully and rework back into some of these white areas that we have. So I could take my pen, I can either choose the colored area that I have right here. Part of this looks like a bird, perhaps. And I can outline that. That would be in the colored area. Maybe over here is some kind of little monster man with his arm up in the air and then little feet. So now I'm starting to doodle in the white area and I'm doodling in that colored area, okay? So if you want to do that and work on this page that we did with Mrs. Sedovy, you can do that. Or you can work on a previous page that we've done. So today the students are working on something that they started with Mrs. Sedovy yesterday. Marianne Sedovy is a guest artist that we've had come in doing 4 to 5 demonstrations during this journal time school year. So she's been coming in and showing them how to do collage, showing them how to paint on a journal page and mask it off. So we're building on those specific little lessons that she starts with them. I've had them do thumbprints and what does that look like when you put all your thumbprints together. We have also done some grocery bag drawings and printing and things like that. So each time I try to have new supplies available for them so that they can work on those, and then they can flip through their journal at any time and work on something in the past, rework it, add to it, whatever they need to do. That's all in their journal for them to work with.
Journal time is a place where people volunteer that they can go, and Miss Netto, our art teacher, will give you a prompt, but you can do anything you want with the prompt. And it's just a way of really hanging out with your friends and expressing like how you feel that day or just what you want to draw. Depending on the prompt, like if it's watercolors, I feel it's more easy because I can paint like what mood I'm in. But if I have to draw with pen, I feel like I have to find more ways to express how I want it to turn out.
I like participating in journal time because I get to talk with all my friends, eat lunch at a bigger table, and it's a lot quieter than the lunchroom. A few days ago, we were making like printing with oranges and wood, but sometimes we just get to draw whatever we want, even if that's a bunch of stick figures or something crazy.
Journal time is basically about, you can like express your feelings in an artistic way, and you can, be with your friends, and there's different it's like different experiences that she brings that you can do. She brings in visitors, and it's like a lot like that. There's one where we had finger painting, and we made little faces out of the paintings or out of our finger paintings, and said how your feelings were that day and put it into the fingerprints.
I see journal time continuing for years to come. I've already had students ask me if they could do this as an 8th grader too. I would love for them to continue coming back. I have enough supplies to continue to do this for years to come. So I think it's a wonderful opportunity and a nice building block for them to have this little break in the day. So I see it going for years. I love it. And I'd like to give a great thank you, a big, huge hug to Twinsburg Schools Foundation and all of their consideration for this grant and approving this grant and actually funding the grant. Without that, I could not have these students behind me working so hard on their social learning and their wellness and everything that they're able to experience. So I want to thank, again, the Twinsburg Schools Foundation and Mrs. Powers for heading this and supporting me in this endeavor. I appreciate it.
Over the summer, I read this book from Peter Lilldale. It's Building Thinking Classrooms. And it was just changing the way I thought about how I wanted to run my classroom. So I contacted my co-teacher and I said, you've got to read this book, it's so good. So we read the book and started implementing it in our classroom. But we realized that we just didn't have enough of the materials that we needed to run it. So then we applied for the Twinsburg Schools Foundation grant. And our grant was called Math Project, Motivating Advanced Thinking Habits. And so what we were looking for was some ways so that all of our kids can be standing and working, so that they can be put in random groups, and then create thinking tasks for them to be successful at in those random groups and to build these relationships with the kids. All right, kids, today we're gonna do a thinking task. So you're gonna take the numbers 1, 3, 4, and 6. You can use any operation, you can use any power, square root to find the numbers 1 through 30.
Now keep in mind that the numbers do not have to stay in order, but you can only use the numbers once.
Okay, you can glue numbers together. So if you have a 1 and a 3, you can make a 13 out of that.
You must use all of the numbers each time.
Okay, so we have an example for you. If you just add them all up, 1, 3, 4, and 6, you get 14.
Okay, all right, we're gonna get into random groups and you can see what you find out.
Even though they're in random groups, we're still doing the curriculum-based instruction as well. So they'll be in their random groups, but they get to be with different groups every day. So there's not one student that's a leader all the time or one student that's a follower all the time, because that role changes with every group. And then we also talk about sharing the marker. We have one marker, so they all have to think together to create the problem, to solve the problem. But today we did thinking tasks, which is something we do every now and then. But we are usually doing curriculum tasks. But today we just gave you a glimpse of what thinking tasks were. To go from what they were used to last year, we just started off brand new at the beginning of the year. We just put them in random groups and put them at boards. We rotated often, talk to kids, make sure that they are talking to each other, that they're sharing their markers, that they're sharing ideas, that they're checking each other's ideas, having positive language towards each other. And then, if they didn't like their group one day, we'd tell them, tomorrow's a new group. Every day is a new group. So then they get to try something else next day with a new group of kids. And we just started it from day one. So this was not something they had to get used to. This was the way it's gonna be, and then they found success. Especially with COVID, we have had a hard time with kids communicating with each other. So this allows them to communicate with each other, learn critical thinking skills at the board, also develop their relationships with their peers, and solve a problem together, because they can't do it on their own sometimes. They have to reach out and get some help from someone else. And there's more than one expert in the room. I'm not the only expert, Ms. Small here's not the only expert. These kids know a lot. So if they can get this information from their peers before they come to us, it's a win.
Learning this way is so great for all the middle schoolers, particularly a lot of the kids that I work with, because they are hands-on learners and need to move around and find that kinesthetic, experience. And that this whole philosophy of teaching gets them that. I think it takes a little while for the kids to buy into everything it has to offer. So they're really interested in, I want to learn the math and I can do well on the test. But then over the course of time, they see that it's more about the process and becoming problem solvers. I personally love the idea of a productive struggle and building that resilience and perseverance that has now translated to so many of their other subjects. Typically the students that I work with either want to work by themselves or they have a preferred partner. Now when they go into the classroom and they get random groups, they're no longer coming in with all this anxiety that they have to not only navigate the subject area, but also navigate the personalities and the other individuals that they are assigned to work with, that they have something to offer as well, and that they can be active team members. It's the amount of leaders that I feel like we are creating, that we don't just have one leader in a group. The kids, by the time they're in 8th grade, have kind of learned that they're either paired with someone for a reason, or they even pair themselves with a peer for a reason. By having these random groups, they can't always take a step back, or they can't always, be the number one, the leader, and they have to learn to work together and share those roles.
We all get into groups, they're randomized, so you don't really get to choose who you work with, so you have to meet new people every time. And it is different and it's new, but it can be hard. But if you know how to talk to people and you know how to explain things well, it's easy at first. So when I first got here on the first day and we did the random groups, it wasn't hard, it was easy. And Patrick actually was the first person that I worked with. And he has a lot of opinions sometimes, but it's easy to understand why he thinks that and why he wants to work upon it that way.
It honestly helps out with teamwork and being more cooperative with people. Like in math class, you always sit down at the table and you're just writing on the paper on the Chromebook. That's just really boring. I remember it used to be so difficult for me, but now everyone can be working together. It's so much more easier for us all to do it.
I feel it can help with our communication skills and teamwork. If we need to do a project with someone in the high school or just talk to people about stuff.
Do you feel more confident in working in groups having this experience?
Yes, I do feel more confident because it can build friendships and we can have a nice time communicating with someone.
I think with the standing piece is huge. The standing piece, the students are actually have more energy, they seem happier, they can move around more. Sometimes they see them dancing, which I think is kind of cute, but it just allows them to get some of that energy out from sitting all day. So they have this opportunity to do math and stand and find success. I think the students are on their screens a lot. I know we have our new cell phone policy where the students are putting their cell phones away during class time, but we still have Chromebooks. And the students do use our Chromebooks in class, but they use them a small amount of the time. So this gives them a chance to actually work. And then because all the boards are the same direction, they have that knowledge mobility. So if they're stuck on something, they can look at someone else's board, get a hint, and then go back to their work and go, oh, I got this. And then it's just that little edge that they needed where they didn't have to raise their hand and ask for help. They got it on their own. But then those that need that extra support, one of us is walking around able to help them and give that individual support that we may not know that's happening because their paper's down on their desk and they're covering it. So if we can see it on their board, we can easily pick out the kids that are struggling and go give them some help.
We hope you've enjoyed a peek inside of our classrooms here at RB Chamberlin Middle School. We're so very proud of our staff members and of our students, and we are very grateful to the Twinsburg Schools Foundation for their continued support of our Tigers. It is the month of February, and we have many programs and activities to support our Black History Month commemoration. Please take a look at my superintendent's message on the Twinsburg City School District website, where you'll find the entire listing of all the ways that we're going to celebrate Black History Month here in the Twinsburg City School District. Have a great day, everyone.